The morning I found my bridge in ruins, my world shattered. I stood there, frozen in my old flannel robe, my legs trembling as I stared at the wreckage of a century-old legacy. Half of the stone bridge my great-grandfather built in 1918 lay scattered across the river like broken dreams, its pieces glinting in the shallow water of Willow Creek. This wasn't just stone and mortar, it was where I'd sipped coffee every dawn, where I'd watched the sun dip below the horizon with my wife, Emily, for 30 years. It was where I proposed to her under a frost-kissed sky, where we celebrated anniversaries with quiet dinners, and where she spent her final days, her voice weak but full of love, recounting our life together before cancer stole her away. That bridge was my heart, my history, my promise to her that it would stand forever. But now, it was gone, demolished in the dead of night. A cold, official notice was pinned to the remaining stones, stabbing at my soul. Structure removed due to safety violations per Riverside HOA Emergency Authority. They'd torn down my life while I slept. But as I knelt in the rubble, my hands shaking, something caught my eye, a glint in the debris that would turn this tragedy into a fight I never saw coming. 3 months earlier, I was living quietly by Willow Creek in Maplewood, a small town nestled in Oregon's rolling hills. My days were simple, a routine that kept me grounded after losing Emily. Coffee on the bridge at sunrise, evenings spent reading there, surrounded by memories of her laughter. Then Margaret Hensley arrived, a corporate predator with ambition in her eyes and a vendetta I didn't yet understand. Her project, Sapphire Shores Estates, had broken ground 6 months prior. 10 waterfront mansions, each priced at $5 million. From my bridge, I watched the construction unfold, assuming it was just another luxury development for wealthy outsiders. The noise was a nuisance, but I thought it would pass. I didn't realize I was witnessing the opening moves of a war rooted in a 60-year-old grudge, or that Margaret had a personal score to settle with my family. She made her intentions clear at a town meeting. Stepping out of a sleek black Mercedes in a tailored Armani suit, flanked by assistants with laptops and briefcases, Margaret delivered a presentation that dazzled the rune-polished slides, economic projections, promises of soaring property values. But when she said, "Certain outdated structures are holding back our town's potential," her eyes locked on mine, and a chill ran through me. She knew everything about Mimi Widower's pension, my grief over Emily, my attachment to that bridge. She'd done her homework, and I was her target. Enter Ethan Caldwell, her bumbling sidekick, a 30-year-old wannabe influencer who filmed the meeting with a tripod and a ring light, posting about his executive role in community development. His cheap business cards, printed at a local shop, boasted titles like strategic consultant and digital innovation expert. In reality, he was a jobless dreamer living in his mother's basement, desperate to impress Margaret. His knockoff designer clothes and self-important swagger were almost comical until I realized how dangerous his loyalty to her could be. After the meeting, an old-timer mentioned something that should have raised alarms. Margaret Hensley. Isn't her family tied to the old chemical plant by the creek? Margaret's face tightened, her voice turning icy. That's ancient history. We're focused on progress. Her reaction was a warning, but I missed it. That night, walking home, I found a survey stake driven into the ground 6 inches from my bridge, its tag reading Hensley Development's Demolition Assessment. My hands shook as I realized this wasn't just HOA bullying, it was a calculated attack on my family's legacy. The next morning, I planned to call my insurance agent and a lawyer. Instead, I returned from my daily walk to find half my bridge gone. The South Arch, where Emily and I shared countless sunsets, was reduced to rubble. A new notice demanded permits for the remaining structure within 48 hours or total demolition would follow. As I sifted through the debris, I found a brass plate buried in the foundation, hidden for decades. Its inscription coordinates and a date, 1957, chilled me to the bone. This wasn't a memento. My great-grandfather had concealed it deliberately, a secret meant to surface only if the bridge was destroyed. What was he hiding? Margaret's campaign escalated. A certified letter arrived, declaring the remaining bridge unsafe and demanding $90,000 for professional demolition. Her hired engineers, paid $20,000, produced a report citing minor cracks as a public safety crisis. Her legal team dug up codes from 1918, claiming my bridge violated modern regulations. Meanwhile, Ethan paraded around in a safety vest and hard hat, taking selfies with my bridge's ruins for his community safety portfolio. He poked at stones with a stick, filming himself assessing hazards with no expertise whatsoever. His 74 photos, captioned with buzzwords like leadership and progress, were an insult to my family's craftsmanship. I tried everything: police, a lawyer, the town council, but every door slammed shut. The police called it a civil matter. My lawyer, charging $300 an hour, warned that fighting the HOA could cost $120,000 and years of litigation with slim odds. The council said they had no jurisdiction. My insurance agent confirmed my policy didn't cover the bridge, and insuring it now would cost $9,000 a year. With $70,000 in savings and $450,000 from Emily's life insurance money I'd vowed never to touch, I faced bankruptcy to save what was left. That's when James Whitaker, a retired paralegal, overheard me at a diner and offered help. "This isn't random, Mark," he said, scanning Margaret's documents. "She's building a legal noose. But I can teach you to fight back." James guided me through property law's maze, digging into records from the 1910s. We found a 1918 deed proving my family's land predated Maplewood's founding, giving us unique rights. A 1953 charter named the bridge a historical landmark, but James cautioned it wouldn't hold up against safety codes. Then we uncovered a 1957 federal flood control contract, a game changer. My great-grandfather had traded land for the Creek's Dam project, securing perpetual rights to buy the dam for $1 plus market value if it ever changed hands. Margaret's company, hidden behind shell corporations, owned that dam, unaware of our leverage. But James's next discovery shook me. Handwritten notes from 1957 revealed my great-grandfather knew the Hensley family secret. Their chemical plant had dumped toxic waste into the creek, poisoning the land. He'd been paid $60,000 to help cover it up, using the dam to bury the evidence underwater. But guilt drove him to embed those purchase rights as a failsafe, ensuring his descendants could expose the truth. I used $50,000 of Emily's insurance to buy the dam for $500,000, turning Margaret's $60 million project into a liability. As the new owner, I ordered a safety inspection, lowering water levels and exposing her mansions as mudfront disasters. Her investors panicked, and her legal team scrambled, but the 1957 contract held firm. Then, an anonymous envelope slid under my door, a 1957 photo of the creek bed, littered with barrels, and a concrete structure marked Hensley Chemical 1955. My great-grandfather had documented their crimes before the flood buried them. This wasn't about real estate, it was about hiding a 60-year environmental catastrophe. The EPA launched an investigation after I shared the photo, finding benzene levels 500 times above safe limits. The FBI followed, probing decades of cover-up. Media swarmed Maplewood, and Creek justice trended as residents recalled strange illnesses from the 1950s. Margaret offered $10 million for the dam, then resorted to threats. Private investigators trailed me, and my home was searched, my grief over Emily weaponized in a psychological profile. A note on my pillow read, "Some secrets should stay buried, Mr. Hayes." Her grand opening was a disaster. Hazmat teams worked beside her $250,000 catering setup, and the drained creek revealed a toxic wasteland. Facing cameras and dwindling investors, Margaret offered $20 million for the dam. When I refused, she unraveled, screaming about my selfish refusal to move on. I took the microphone and revealed the truth. My great-grandfather's complicity in the cover-up, his guilt-driven failsafe, and the Hensley family's crimes. "You destroyed my bridge to hide your family's poison," I said, holding up the EPA report. "But you underestimated what I'd do for justice." Margaret was arrested for conspiracy, fraud, and environmental violations, facing decades in prison. Ethan's live-streamed meltdown, interrupted by his mother's call, became a viral humiliation. The mansion sold for $1 million each to remediation firms. I kept the dam, refilling the creek as cleanup began. A garden now stands where my bridge once was, with a plaque, "For Emily, forever." The fight exposed a painful truth. My great-grandfather wasn't a hero, but his flawed redemption gave me the power to right a 60-year wrong. So, what would you do if you learned your family's legacy was tied to a crime? Would you expose the truth, even if it tarnished their name? Or protect their memory at the cost of justice? Comment below, hit like, and subscribe for more stories of ordinary people facing impossible odds.